this is where a lot of confusion years ago, not so much nowadays. The terms lube-free or maintenance-free usually refers to a bearing that has been pre-lubricated at the factory with a specified amount of special grease. It does not require intermittent lubricant. Although, what Star did is they copyrighted lube-free, actually registered trademark, and the lube-free became synonymous with the ceramic bearing. That was all part of their marketing strategy. And believe it or not, MPB developed that bearing technology with Star, and at the same time Star patented it, because there was no ceramic balls being applied to a dental bearing until Star did it. Until Star engaged MPB, and MPB was bought by Timken Company back in the early 90s. So what they've done is created this image in the doctor's eyes that a ceramic means it's maintenance or lube-free. Not the case. What a ceramic bearing or ball does for you, for the doctor, is it adds length of use and durability. And it's mostly because of the material it's made of. It's a silicon nitride, very hard, can be polished very smooth, and it is an unlike material to the inner and the outer ring. And it is only 40% the weight of a stainless steel ball. So by putting ceramic balls in their lube-free handpieces, when lubricant goes away, the ceramic balls will continue to operate efficiently because the unlike material adds lubricity to the surfaces. Stainless steel does not. You have steel balls, steel inner and outer ring. There's heat, there's friction, and things that reduce the durability and the life of the cage. The cage is the ball separator. The other thing about the weight element of a ceramic ball, every handpiece goes from 0 to full speed in a millisecond. As soon as you hit that rheostat, it comes up to speed. The coefficient of wear, I got a pointer somewhere. The coefficient of wear with the ceramic balls in the cage is much lower because of the amount of weight it's forced through inertia to cause it to rotate. So the surfaces of the ball pocket are less susceptible to wear by pushing a lighter ball around this assembly. Steel balls, what ends up happening is these become elongated and they start cracking in the thinner surfaces. Now this is an image of star bearing that we developed with GRW. It's pretty simple technology and rationale, and it's something that Midwest did with their stylus. The Stylus Easy Care was the Midwest version of lube-free. Has ceramic balls. Has one of the key elements to making it maintenance-free is this integral shield. That shield has a very close tolerance to the rotating inner ring to the stationary outer ring. And what that does is it maintains a level of grease in the bearing itself. Normal star bearings do not have this additional, that's a wire clip and that's the shield, obviously cut away. That holds the grease in the bearings longer, because when the backside of this bearing is exposed, if they lubricate a maintenance-free or lube-free Star Original turbine, they are diminishing the value of the grease. Grease is a wax carrier of oil. Most handpiece cleaners is a solvent, and it dissolves the grease, so it all goes away. Evidence of your customer lubing a maintenance-free handpiece is if you get that handpiece from them and it's dry. And you can spin it and it just spins fast. That means they've used a cleaner, maybe inadvertently, or thought it was a good idea to do it once a week. If it's a standard shield and wire, or standard maintenance-free bearing, it will dissolve the grease and it'll go away. And how that grease works, it's packed with grease so that when a handpiece runs up to speed, it creates a ball track through the grease. when you first start up a Star lube-free turbine, you'll notice it kind of takes a while to come up to speed. That's because it's creating a ball track through the grease. Then it goes into the sterilizer. That grease relaxes. So it makes contact back to those surfaces of the rings and the balls themselves. So after sterilization, it'll take momentary fraction of a second to come up to speed, because what's happening then, it's relubricating itself because the balls are making contact to the grease, having to make another ball track through the grease. That's the theory. That is actually how it works. It self-lubricates itself through this process. Now the bearings that we developed is really a copy of what Midwest is doing with their Stylus line of handpieces. Their integral shield on the outside, and on the back side it has a secondary shield and wire. We dropped our warranty rate on our, what we call the LF1s, lube-free 1-year warranty, down to 2% from about 9%. Star has admittedly about a 35% failure rate, and it's mostly related to the bearings. So any questions there?
Speak to the green grease
Green grease.
coming out of the head prematurely, a month into a brand new turbine going into a handpiece.
That will happen,
It does happen.
and especially if it's a standard maintenance-free bearing, because the grease will come out the back of this, and it will have a tendency to then flush back out.
So it flushes back out, they go ahead and autoclave it, it gets burnt on inside, destroys
It does.
the turbine.
Does sometimes, yes. Yep.
So
That's why it
why
double
does it
shield.
why does it sometimes and not all the time?
Mostly when the bearings are new, there will be some excess grease come out of the bearings.
But that shouldn't be normal.
It is normal.
It is.
It is normal.
But not normal to the point where you're getting so much debris in there that it's noticeably bad. And it actually stops the handpiece.
I've not really seen
Yes,
where
you
the
have. I've
grease.
sent it to you.
Okay, then we'd have to look
You gotta
into it.
I gotta know about that, because I've got an office that has a problem.
Okay.
I gotta find out what's going on.
What you have to look out for as well is the temperature to which it's being sterilized, because it could be making the grease a little more fluid, causing it
Running
to
out.
flow. That's a
Are
possibility.
they running it in a manual sterilizer?
Yes.
What they're probably doing?
No,
is-
I'm sorry, not a manual. It's an M11.
If it's a dry heat sterilizer,
Mhm.
no, that's not a good idea. Usually a Tottenhauer steam, Statum,
It's
or
an
the,
M11.
it's the,
Mid-mark.
yeah, that's good. We have 3 mid-marks. We have one big giant Tottenhauer, an industrial strength, very big one in our shipping and receiving department.
3780.
I don't know what the model is, but we can put over 100 handpieces in it.
Yes, 3780.
Yeah. Yes.
I don't think I followed when you talked with these lube-free bearings, that
Okay.
when you said if you clean them, you're going to,
You'll
Yep.
dissolve the grease in the standard one a lot quicker than the one that has the double shield, because the cleaner in a spray can is a solvent,
okay,
and it'll
all right.
dilute.
So
the
you're not
grease.
saying don't clean them, you're saying it will affect
No,
them?
what I'm saying is if the doctor inadvertently lubricates using a cleaner lubricant, for him to make that handpiece last longer, he's gonna have to continue to lubricate it. The lubricated turbines that we sell, that Star sells, same everything, different impeller color. Because if you maintain that handpiece with that regular bearing routinely after each patient, it will last twice as long as if you treated it as a maintenance free. And that's where they validate their 2-year warranty.
You were talking earlier about the cookie sheet effect.
Yes.
So if you have a loop-free handpiece and they're not putting any lubricant through it, you're getting all that black crud building up inside.
Oh, excuse me. Sorry about
Well, you put them on hold, I'm
Sure.
flattered.
that. Oh, absolutely.
How do you,
This is my son.
how do you deal with that problem with the Star 430s? I got a lot of customers that are using the lube-frees and they're getting them all junked up. So is the only way to solve that to disassemble and clean as part of what I do for them? Or is there?
That'll happen over time,
Yeah.
and that's a tough one. That, you know, the best solution is to change the doctor to using it as a regular handpiece. Now, one of the things that I haven't covered yet is there's kind of a loss of the feature and benefit of maintenance-free. Years ago, when we introduced the Timken's LTL line of lube-free type bearings for offering maintenance-free repair services and other brands, is the residual oils that emit out of a handpiece compromise bonding procedures. So the benefit of a maintenance-free, or better yet, a bearing with an integral shield, does not allow any residual oils to emit outside the head of the handpiece onto the bonding surface. So if you have a customer that does a lot of bonding procedure, something with an integral shield is the best scenario. In fact, W&H defaults using that bearing, but they never mention anything, oh, it's lube free or it's this or that. The benefit of having that integral shield using that handpiece to do bonding procedures gives you that benefit of no residual oils making contact to the bonding surface, compromising the doctor's workmanship. So what happens over time, and like one of you said that all that debris comes out, you know, this is one of the side effects, unfortunately, of not maintaining a handpiece. So to make them last longer, this bearing or not, routinely maintain them and it'll last twice as long. That's good advice for any of your customers that don't do a lot of bonding procedures. They want more life out of it. Treat it like any other handpiece. Another thing to look at, if I didn't touch it with its group, and I have to apologize because I've repeated so many things and I'm not sure I repeated them in this class or the last one. But one of the things to look at on a star, and I'm sure some of you have experienced this, to where you take the old turbine out, put the new turbine in, sounds great, but you try to cut with it and it has no torque. What happens is if you take the coupler off and look down in the hole, if it looks all discolored and has a buildup of debris down on the inside, what's happened is the exhaust passages that are in that outside of that insert down in the handle is clogged, not allowing the exhaust airflow to flow through the handpiece. And you'll have virtually no torque whatsoever. Another side effect of that is if it leaks, even if you change the O-rings on the coupler, you snap it together and it still has water bubbling out. That insert has an O-ring that seals part of the handpiece to the top to the connector. And that O-ring should be replaced periodically. The only way to replace it is by taking the insert out. We do sell a toolkit on our website that will be able to enable you to press the pin out, take the handle out. If it's stuck, there's a tool to force the what's called fila assembly. It's a little insert that you see down in the bottom of the star that has the fiber optics and an elongated hole for air drive and a small hole down towards the fiber optics. That's the water line. So that thing should be forced, but don't over force it. What I recommend that you do is put some cleaner in the handle and just rotate it back and forth and slowly wedge it apart, or slowly push that rod through so you can push the assembly out. If you use too much force, you can crush that, what's called a fila assembly, and ruin the handpiece. But then once you get that insert out, you're able to clean those flat surfaces, clean the inside of the handpiece shell, replace the O-ring, and then one of the tools is set so that you press that insert till the tool stops and it's set back into the right position. Then you put the handle back onto the assembly after you've replaced the two O-rings, slide it up, match the hole in the handle to the hole in the assembly, and put the pin back in. Very simple tool, very effective. And if you do a lot of stars, I recommend you getting it and doing it periodically.
What cleaner are you using to get all that black crud out of the exhaust tube?
We normally use a kind of a soft tip wire brush.
Also just manually?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Be careful because it's a press fitted item. So if you try to put it on a grinder or buffer or something and it slides in, you ruin the handpiece. So just use a
So then
vigorous scrubbing.
going forward, what do you tell these doctors that are using them as lube free? They're not lubricating.
Well, Doc, this is going to cost you money periodically.
Right.
Some of the side effects.
But will it hurt just to use a lubricant without a cleaner?
Yes,
It will
it
hurt?
does kind of the same thing. It will dissolve the wax carrier. Okay, any other questions? One of the side effects of this whole theory of lube free, unfortunate side effect is some factors of every handpieces does require routine maintenance, chuck systems especially. That's the biggest downfall or bad part or side effect of lube-free Star handpieces. They don't maintain the chucks. It should be done daily. I recommend if they have a maintenance machine, or if you're going to promote the maintenance machine that we're going to make available to you guys, that they clean the chuck system first before they connect it to the connector to do the handpiece maintenance. That way it becomes part of the routine. Very important.